Hi, me. Welcome. Welcome. Fantastic. Wow. Nice to see so many people joining immediately as this is about to start. Welcome again to another Shimejito talk. While we wait for other people to join us, today we have another invitation for you. Try to tune into the word nature and what does it brings to you. What images, sensations, and share with us if one word or two about what comes to you as you listen to the word nature. Hello. For those of you who are joining us now, I was inviting you to share with us what comes to you, feelings, thoughts, smells, memories, when you hear the word nature, which is the star of this conversation. Seed. Thank you, Gil. Okay, we are already 10 in the room, so I think is best we start. So today a talk is trying to answer the question, what can we learn from nature? From our previous talk, we already start diving into these many wisdoms that are free for us to learn. Just a question of trying to learn, stopping and observing. And today our guest is Gil Penha-Lopes. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to bring him immediately. Gil is a researcher. He works with biodesign in terms of technological, ecological, and socioeconomic transformation of systems. He's a researcher in the Faculty of Science, University of Lisbon, and he does a lecture on climate change and sustainable development policies. But he's much more than these roles, and so I'm going to invite Gil to join us. Who is Gil? Hi.
Hello, Njiza.
Hello, welcome. I was trying to read a description, but it was not resonating. So please show us, who are you, Gil?
Oh, that's a life questioning and answering. So just before I forget, just to mention that I saw Nuno da Silva appearing, and today it's his birthday. So a big hug to Nuno. Nuno was the last guest, I feel. So a
Happy
big
birthday, Nuno.
woohoo! And yeah, I would say that now I'm a pilgrim on understanding what can we learn from nature sharing since 3.8 billion years ago, and it managed to root well in these conditions. And how much can we learn to implement in our lives, in our homes, in our communities, in our society in general, knowing that society now is coming with a circular economy and sustainable building and governance is being really economic systems and companies. I'm really into inviting these learnings and trying to check with people. Are you listening to me well?
No, I was trying to check with Michelle if people are listening okay, because I'm not listening very well. I don't know, it's for my internet.
Yeah.
I'm listening with some interruptions. So
Okay.
Can any one of our listeners say if he's listening okay?
Somebody saying that my connection is really not good. I'm
But it
having
was,
some feedback now. It was so great a while ago.
yes.
What I
No,
can try to do, I'll take out my headphones. There is a feedback somewhere.
so maybe non-speaker mic can close mic. No. No, it's. I don't think it's the problem. It's doing some kind of feedback. Okay, let's try. Let's try, Gil.
Okay.
Try to use or someone try to use the 4G. I think he's using 4G.
4G and everything is very at the top. One thing that we can also do, I can get out and get in again just to check if there is any problem. Let me know.
Now it's perfect. So, I'm so sorry. This is live happening. Interruptions and disturbances. You were speaking about your pilgrimage.
Yeah, to feel myself as a pilgrim on this way of learning from nature and tuning into our own nature. I use a lot my body to get insights for some of the challenges I'm seeing, whether it's traffic, like how much is my blood not having a jam, and I'm listening again to my feedback, or at least, yeah, and
I'm allowing yourself to use the space, but I was having this question inside of me. And it has to do a little bit of our previous conversations about roles, and in some way, all our guests, our tribe, and all in these Shimejito talks, what we are bringing, it's all the amazing people that are doing this pilgrimage, this transformation process. And in some way, we all started in a very clear role, so to fit, or being an economist, or being a biologist, and in some way, during our path, we transformed ourselves into become something, and that's also a pattern, bigger, so that goes behind our self. And you place you say you are a planetarian, a guardian of the planet. I love it. When did you acknowledge that and embrace that that call?
If I go back, the first image that comes to me, is Paul Watson and his colleague in front of these steel hunt boats, and since then I'm really called into like saving nature from man. And probably 10 years ago, I really brought man fully into the equation about we are light, and I'm not just a guardian, I'm also a full man with all the learnings and all the challenges, and see ourselves as a one of the tissues that now is at the edge of supporting the evolution of the whole planet. So not thinking that the planet would be better without humans. We are a new in this planet that is evolving, And so really interesting to be at the edge of how is this tissue organizing? How is it communicating internally? How is this tissue connecting to all the other tissues? So I'm really into this mood now about how from us as cells, as communities, as a full global society, find our place, our way of being, our mission in this planet.
When you listening to you, you awaken the image of that it was, or it still is a little bit present, not so little. It's if you don't fit, go out. So it's if you are arming. So if human beings are doing something bad to the planet, go out. Or if you are in a class and you are not doing what I expected, go out. And the movement that we are being invited, it's more, come here and I will teach you. Come closer. It's I don't know how to place it, but it seems like life circumstances has guided us to that moment where, okay, it's not a question of extincting you. It's a question of how do I call you, human beings, to learn. And this is bringing a shift in terms of the polarity of patriarchy and the mother and the father way of dealing with children. I don't know if I was clear, but that's where you brought me, a shift in the way you approach what it's not working.
There are different entries of how I could go in, and one of the ways is that I feel that we are kind of a teenager in the planet, and that we're really trying to be different from your parents, from nature, from the surrounding, and really trying to find going from different. Are you listening better or worse now? Is the same?
Let's go. No, let's go.
And so we are going from dependent to independent, and now we are doing the process of becoming interdependent with nature. So we are becoming a bit more mature, knowing a bit of our limits if we go too much away, and if we don't follow the rules of the house, so the ecology. And this is where we are at the moment. I feel this is like this rebel teenager that did a lot of stuff. Sorry?
We are becoming adults.
Yes, in the process. I feel that it's really being called.
Yeah, it's interesting that I also have a similar metaphor. It's as you are born, it's mommy, 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 mommy. You know, nothing, and you go to our previous civilizations much more closer to nature, and then Illuminism and brain and everything came up. So adolescence, my mom and my father don't know anything. This is very old, and the separation, and after the Middle Age with all that mysticism and all the awful things that also were committed in terms of lack of sober mind. So we had this cut with the natural, with the unseen, with the, and until now it was no brain, 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 brain. And in some way we are, I need mommy, I need father, I need community, I need brain, I need spirit, I need heart, I need everything.
Yeah, I feel that, I mean, life is a lot about stable, dynamic systems, very cyclical and evolving. So it really invites us to go like, you breathe out until you almost have no air, and then you breathe in, and then it's night and it's day. So for me, it's very natural that we go out of some domains to really explore more in depth another ones, and then come back And instead of fighting, saying this is better than the other, how can you bring back and integrate and then transcend? So for me, it's really we are really in this process of getting a consciousness level that we are moving beyond dualism, A, B, and bigger, better than smaller, and so on, to really find, okay, all of them, all of the levels, all of the dimensions are important. My question is that, are we on the healthy state of it or on the unhealthy expression of it? Because all of these levels and dimensions can be expressed in a healthy or unhealthy level. And for me, the healthy, sorry?
And it's okay if you are not on the healthy, also unhealthy, because you need one to get the other.
Yeah, I mean, and of course, these healthy and healthy and healthy and unhealthy, it's still using the polarity, because by learning, I mean, when a kid falls, we don't say, oh, you're doing a mistake. You're walking right. I mean, it's a process. But my thing is about the things that we have in conscious. Are we bringing vitality, viability, and an evolutionary capacity to what we are expressing? And knowing that only like 2% of what we see, listen, feel, it's conscious to us, inviting all our unconscious dimensions, our intuition, our individual and collective capacity to find pathways, ways of being that we couldn't even grasp before. I think we are at that by integrating with all the ancestors and the indigenous knowledge and so on. We are on that moment of co-creation, of emerging. I mean, it's really about the phase of going from a caterpillar to a butterfly. We are in the cocoon, and about deactivating and activating developments without knowing what the butterfly will look like. What has to fully go, what needs to be transformed, what is going to be completely new.
It's bad, your connection again. I lost you. I lost. Now okay, now it's okay. But I was listening to you, and another question. So they are always here popping up. It seems like, and from this conversation, the work that we all do in our different systems in trying to bring this regeneration, it seems like that the structures, the templates, they are already here. So it's the way our ecosystem, it's the way nature works. And as I was listening to you, do you think that it's an essential condition that for us to be able to replicate or mimic this nature ways of doing and structuring, we really need to develop those skills that you were mentioning, sensing, feeling. So do you think that knowledge can only be accessed with more skills than intellectual skills?
So what I feel is that, and what the insight that it's coming is that all of us need to be really grounded and really connected to our own selves, whether we are more mental or more heart or more intuitive. Each of us needs to be connected and then shine from that level. So without the faces and the masks and all those things. And then collectively, we will have all those elements. Of course, each of us is invited to develop those, but some of us have gifts in some areas and
lost you. We lost you. Each of us needs to develop.
Each of us has some gifts, some dimensions that it's very natural, let's say, and some others that we are still developing. But that's the importance of why we need to work together in our diversity. I'm feeling that you're not listening to me well.
No, I'm listening.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking about this conversation, because when you mention now that we need to be grounded and behind the masks, I was recalling you sharing with me and Michelle about that situation in one of European institutions. Where, can you tell us about people? Oh, I'm a researcher. I'm this and this, and trying to. Please tell us this.
Yeah.
This is a good example of how can you become useful.
Yeah. So it was in a conference, and all of us were in our own roles, and we're talking about what citizens need to be doing. And of course, if we would take all the people with roles, then the only citizens would be the children, the unemployed, and the elders. And it's really important that we come with our full being with roles, but we need to come with our full being. And what I find is that to the events that I organize, bringing elders and children really bring all the other ones that have a role to come more connected to themselves. Other than, of course, you can bring poetry, you can give other moments, but by bringing an elder that it's like 70 or 80, making a comment about intergenerational, and that he is worried about his grandchildren, it really takes out people, decision makers, business people, I don't know, lawmakers, whatever, not worried with the present short-term crisis or profits or whatever. It's really into, okay, I mean, I'm going to use my role for a meaningful doing, for a meaningful being, and not trying to diminish myself to make my role bigger, let's say, to make more profit, or to make to more prohibitions, or to protect more natural parks. No, I mean, how can I use my role to really nurture what needs to be, what's emerging, what needs to be healed, what needs to be regenerated?
Also, in our previous conversation, we spoke about, and what that was really what I kept. You mentioned something about we need to learn how to do in our teams and organization what nature does in terms of embracing the full potential and uniqueness of each element. And it's what I sense also, because a politician presents himself only a politician, so why he doesn't present himself as a father, as a neighbor, as a community? Or so we go to our social roles empty of our fullness of all our potential. But can you give us a biologist view of how nature does this in terms of respecting the unique role of each element?
Interesting. Well, what is coming to me is the fact that nature and each element has multiple functions, and the same function is done by different elements of the system. So it builds redundancy. So a tree doesn't only produce seeds that lead to more trees. It's also a place for good rest, or it's a place for shadow, or it also works as a pumping system that brings water from the soil and evaporates. But also when rain falls, it doesn't hit hard on the soil, so it smooths down the rain. And it's doing this at the same time, all the time. Weed cycle, it loses leaves, it gets leaves again, it grows a bit more. So, and for me, it's about how can we connect to our multiplicity, even more than multiplicity, our full dimension, and being able to feel and to know when to push one more forward, but also trying to understand when one dimension it's very extended and needs to be pulled back to all those other ones to be healthy. And for that, nature doesn't work with single indexes. Otherwise, a tree would not produce thousands of seeds because only 1, 2, 3 probably trees. It would just produce 3 big fruits, very protected, very spiny, so nobody eats it, fall to the ground, and really have. It's about producing a lot of seeds, a lot of fruits. A lot of them will be eaten by birds. The other ones will fall, and the scavengers will eat it. So it's about looking at the bigger ecosystem and say, what is a tree doing to feed not only its own interest of surviving to the next generation, but that feeds the whole ecosystem that not only depends on the tree, but it nurtures the tree and the capacity of the tree to give offspring. So the tree sons and daughters have a better soil than the one that she had, and so on and so forth. So the soil increases, it gets more quality. And I feel that we need to start finding, and for example, the 17 SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, is already one of the pathways of starting to move. It's not perfect, it will never be, but we need to start seeing things in a multidimensional way without trying to split them, as some of the ways of the implementation of the SDGs in companies in other places is about choosing some and implementing them. And for me, it could be a start, but it should show all of the 17s as fast as possible.
That's perfect. From what you just said, I took 2 things. One is that one. So in terms of the purpose of what you do, you as individual or as an institution or as a group, must go behind your identity, or individual identity or group. It's the full ecosystem. But I really like the idea of multifunctionality, of multidimensional. In some way, we started to put it that, but in the multitasking. So it doesn't come from the uniqueness of the gift or the gift that person has to give. It's more, how can I use you in many tasks? And one of the things that I struggle is, how do you build functional units within groups, institutions, once again, where you can have this mobility? I was sharing with you from a previous conversation that I had, which I was seeing an area, a functional area of a project, and I was saying, no, this is not what I like, but 2 or 3 things, I really like to do that. There was another functional area, this one is totally my area, I want to be part of that. But there are 2 or 3 here that I do not like. So our human systems really don't cope with this way of accessing to our potential. I don't know if I'm making sense to you. Do you have an understanding in terms of how does nature does this distribution, just like the example of the tree? So is there any kind of structure of design that can inform?
If I'm understanding correctly, what I'm coming here is that nature works a lot with the creative tensions. So it brings polarities, it brings them together until sometimes we only see the competition of those tensions, but it's like 90%, it's synergetic, it's mutual benefits. at the higher levels, not as the individual, not of the lion eating the gazelle, whatever, but seeing the lion population, the gazelle population, and the entire ecosystem, how that is benefiting from these creative interactions. And for me, I feel that we need to start seeing these creative tensions as the places of opportunity to really having new things emerging. Of course, we need to take care about, because competition takes energy, and sometimes it threatens viability. But it's usual the necessary elements for an evolutionary step to be taken. You need to face a wall, or you need to face a challenge to really go beyond your capacity. Individual, you need probably to call other people, you need to group, you need to reflect, you need to feel, and then when that maturity is done, you might be able to evolve and see how that goes. So it depends also on the phase that you are. You might not want a very strong oppression in some phases of development, but in others, you might welcome probably. That's early on or later, when the business, or when the curve of growth stabilizes, you might want some tensions in order to develop into the next stage. Because I feel that sometimes people ask me if I'm hopeful for what's happening and for the situation of Earth and humanity. And one of the things that comes to me is about, I don't feel that we can not be hopeful, because life, since the beginning, it's the only thing that it has. It's an impulse for complexity. It's an impulse for diversity. It's an impulse for creating conditions to more life. So I am alive. I am life. So it's embedded on my system, all these impulses to grow, to develop, to create conditions around me, to create more conditions of the people that are of the same species and other ones that we could connect to. Only if we get out of these other narratives and systems that we created. Imagine something like the universal basic income, or unconditional, or whatever, when your survival is not too much at stake, that you don't need to bring the competition, that it's either you or the other one, it's either your position or somebody else's, that your survival is taken so that you can be at your full mission. And I'm not saying that we don't need and should have other systems. Just to mention, in some eco-villages, they gave the same salary. Some of them decided to give the same salary to everybody. And what they realized is that the creativity decreased. So what they implemented, it was something interesting. All of them have a basic, but then you can get more to do other things if you're creative and support and nurture the ecosystem. It provided two things: less fear and more collaboration, but also a lot of creativity, because it's not only financial resources, but it's these combinations we need to test.
We need to test, that's what
I think we need to get out of ideologies and really start implementing with no shame or fear of not getting it right. I mean, nature is mutating all the time just for testing and prototyping. And 99.9% of life died. So we are on the brink of all life from these 3.8 billion years. A lot of that died, didn't work out. It didn't adapt to the new conditions. We either get this, and almost for sure, we will not be here in a million years from now. But we could have our input to keep our lineage going and support a potential level of development of the planet. And or we don't adapt and we get extinct very fast. But I feel it's a pity because it can be so much fun to not to be gods, but to be a full participative member of evolution. And that I don't think we want to miss that.
To be a particle of God. So someone once told me that and the image, it comes in the Big Bang. So once God was united, and for some way it had to divide it, and each one was kept the responsibility of keeping a part of the knowledge. But we forgot. I forgot in the way, and we start to believe that our knowledge was the only knowledge. If you want to find God, get people united again. So it was a beautiful. But as listening to you, it's as listening also like her telling us, just get rid of your need to control, your fear of things not working. Man up or woman up when you find tension. So instead of trying to avoid it, stop and look at it, because it's informative. So because what we tend to do is, now I want more collaboration. I don't like competition. We are always jumping from only this side, and it seems like we lost the capacity to dance and with these two polarities, and everything points for that need.
And that's only taking almost a couple of dimensions. If we start bringing the full span of life, where physics, it's proving that entanglement, two atoms that work together in a molecule, you separate them, and then you give an electric shock to one, and the other one responds at the same time. Starting to bring that knowledge into our living systems, I'm really curious about how much different life can be if we really start synchronizing with each other, with one another, with the rest of the living system. I really feel that when we overcome these dualities, I'm really curious as a scientist to see how very different knowledge and experience will become.
And you are talking about resonance, and we work with, so, and in some way the initial rituals that we bring, it's really to show the difference in the room. Then we help this difference to coalesce in order for a field of resonance to emerge. So it's really trying to bring this in everything that we do. It's not easy because we stop in the classes in the beginning when friction starts to emerge. We don't want. We are so addicted to everything in order. Nothing must die. Everything must be hygienic, control, no emotional chaos, no nothing, and we lose. It seems like we stop in this threshold. I would like you to share with us some work that I know that you are involved in many projects, and one in specifically in trying to build a community where all these dimensions are brought to life. How has been that work? What is working? What are challenges? What are learnings?
So I've been working for the past years on how we can create local communities that are sustainable. And I've been researching on eco-villages, transition towns, permaculture projects, and the like. And you're referring to a project I'm starting 1 hour north of Lisbon, which is really in the beginning. And one of the things I'm doing this course of regenerative development also. I'm learning a lot. Um, and this thing about being place-based, things need to root in a territory in order because they are context-specific, and in a community with culture, legacy, the process. And it's okay to bring a lot of this impetus of implement sustainability or implement another culture coming from elsewhere. Usually we are very good. And for me, the most challenging, it's really to pace down, as Nuno said, from his learnings from permaculture, really arrive and listen and watch and understand what's really wanting to emerge from the people, from the territory, and so on, and then be able to bring your insights, your visions, and merge with that, with other people, with the culture of the territory, and allowing time can be, it needs to happen very fast, or it needs to take time. For example, for some of us to be welcome in a community, usually takes 10 years to people to build trust, to really know you, to understand how you are, especially if they are really interested on understanding that regardless of your imperfections, what's the best in you? How can I promote the best in you? And how can we best work together? And how can I support you on your process? Human to human, human to tree, human to animals. I mean, we need time. And we need different listening, ways of listening, everything. So for me, that's on one side the most challenging, but for me at the same time, it's where the whole potential and a lot of learning is. So sometimes I see, well, one of the most challenging things and problems will be about people. And I'm like, well, that's where it's fun, right? And so, because everything regarding technology and so on, I mean, we can implement it, we can use it.
That's not the question, yeah.
Of the ecological knowledge, it to a certain extent, it's known. Our connection to it, and allowing to have the unknown emerging, that's the challenging part for us, especially because we have to go deeper.
Yeah. Well, do you think that nature works with the plan? Because listening to you, it's most of our anxiety is because we have a vision, we draw a plan, we have goals, we want to achieve this and that time frame. Do you think it's that stands in the way, and that nature doesn't have a plan, she just do it?
My personal belief, knowing life, I feel that as in most things, like a seed, there is a blueprint. So this seed has a blueprint to become a oak tree. Okay, and if it was the first time we would see these seeds growing, we would always marvel how come it's evolving. But the fact is that the blueprint is there. We just didn't know all the full cycle. And trying to divide the universe that it's non-living from then a tree or ourselves or even our planet, I find it's again trying to split things. And I would see mainly, of course, it could be random, it could be chaotic, like also nature does. It does a lot of mutations, some work, some don't. I'm fine with that. But I feel that there is a blueprint, and I feel it's up to us listening, feeling the blueprint, also expressing it in one way. I don't think there is the right way or the wrong way. There are timings of doing, there are timings of not doing. We could try to pull the leaves of these seeds when it's growing to see if it grows faster, but probably we'll just break the leaf and will harm. So I think it's a lot of knowing and learning. Knowing that it will grow and develop, but we don't know how, and observe to see how we can best support these seeds and learn from that. And I feel that we are going from the genes that are inside to means of culture. So
Okay.
ways of perceiving, ways of talking, ways of what visions do we put in place that don't block what is emerging, but it's visions that support the unfolding. So it doesn't need to be a fruit of a specific size and color. No, it's a vision of becoming a healthy fruit that will produce potentially a lot of seeds, supporting the ecosystem. So it's really, and what rituals do we need to continue creating, supporting these processes? I find that we as a culture, especially the Western one, lost a lot of healthy rituals that allow our individual and collective tissue to gain meaning, to move from stages. And I feel that having a knowledge of nature is one of those processes. We need to understand how we operate to be able to be designers and to be developers of anything, because everything is nature. This painting is natural. A human being,
That's beautiful.
nature. The thing is that it's a nature product that takes a lot of energy to put. It produces a lot of waste, and sometimes it even harms the surrounding ecosystem. So we need to become better nature the designers so what we do, it really fits with the rest of our living system, where there is living principles and laws. And I think we need to integrate that, be humble, but also be bold and say, okay, I understand the operating system, but I'm also a designer and a participant, an active member of this process.
Gil, I'm going to try. We are already on time. I'm going to try to wrap up. Help me. So, in terms of trying to answer the question, what can we learn from nature? What I listened, it's and I'm going to read it on the order I took note. It's that first, each element, and as elements of this big system, we have multiple dimensions and multiple functions, and in some way we need to create the conditions to allow those multiple dimensions to express themselves and be part of what we collectively create. Also, one of the lessons, it's in terms of nature doesn't take sides. So if it's time to be more competitive or more aggressive or more predatory for a specific species or for a specific habitat or whatever, it is time. Then it will reach a moment that it needs to shift to another kind of tension. So in some way, we need to stop and observe and understand a little bit more about this. When should we stretch? When we should loosen the different polarities, and learn to work with this creative interaction and creative turn tension. This, I think it's Peter Sainz that it's turn emotional tension into creative tension. I loved one of the things, and still in this same note, it's that, and this is very important for me because I'm all collaboration. competition takes a lot of energy. But it's useful. So, and in these days where we are seeing all the emergence of this participatory and collaboration, for us, I'm speaking to me, and for us that work on this, pay attention, because we also need competition. You also mentioned the need to be rooted, so to be present and rooted in terms of nature, language. It's natural for us is really to integrate ourselves in the space, in the surroundings, in the community, in the environment, the place, the physical place that we are inhabiting. And lastly, you left us an invitation for us to become designers. So each one of us also have our blueprint. So we need to restore the rituals that we don't need to reinvent them, because many thousand years ago, many people did that work for us. But we need to restore rituals to reconnect with ourselves as individuals and as collectives, to access that blueprint and really become good designers of our society. Would you add something else?
I fully resonate with what you said. And what I would bring is really about this invitation for us to try to move from the what to the how, and from the how to the why. Really understand, why am I doing this? And why do I want to reach this place? Why am I thinking about how to do it? And really allowing us to do this process of building it, but then reflecting on the how and the why without staying too much on the mind. Really allowing. And another thing, if it's not fun, it's not regenerative. For me, it's about how to bring celebration into all this work that get very task-oriented, and just let's celebrate. We need to celebrate. We are social beings. We thrive with dreaming and celebrating together. And yeah, so I would close with that. A big celebration all the time.
Let's celebrate. I'm celebrating this conversation. I'm celebrating this moment, this space. Thank you so much for helping building this space. Thank you for the lessons. I got a lot of personal lessons for me to destroy some assumptions. Yeah, thank you, Gil. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, also, I enjoyed a lot. A lot arose, and I hope that the sound for the next time it's better. And
it was perfect. No, that's what work. Whatever happens is what is supposed to happen. So, and you were seeing my face. This is me. Was tuning like the radio.
And also all the people that were here in participating in another way. I was reading some of the messages, also to bring the inspiration. So also a lot of gratitude, because what is happening between just the two of us is also being informed and informing the field of people that are listening now and will listen this in the future. Thank you so much.
We are all in the same field, so and thank you for adding your personal field to this collective field. Thank you for remembering. Thank you. Gratitude. Hope you all have enjoyed. I confess, Gil was more attentive to the questions and the comments, because I was really sensing with all my body and I was not there. Thank you so much, Gil. I hope you have enjoyed. Next week we will have another Shimejito talk. Gil, thank you so much. Beijo no coração. Kiss in your heart.
Beijão. Obrigado.
Beijo.